You're now listening to the Zod and Drea podcast.
Welcome to the Zod and Drea podcast. It is now Tuesday, March 27th.
Happy Tuesday. Happy 27th.
Happy 27th, everybody. We are now on episode 102. So we are clearly in the 100s in season 2, and we're moving forward.
Keep on ticking. We just got more stuff going on.
Yeah, so of course, we've had, a nice week, a lot of relaxation going on, but of course, one of the big things that happened this weekend, if you have been in a hole, was the March for Our Lives, where a lot of the kids from the Parkland school shooting got together. They organized an international march, so we're going to talk about that later, but if it was happening in your city, we're hoping that some of you know people, if not yourself, who had taken part.
And what did they say? How many students showed up in D.C.? About close to 800,000?
Yeah, it was like 800,000 people in D.C. I mean, damn near close to 1 million. Funny, they were like, well, either way, it was larger than Trump's
That's always a win.
So there are a lot of people going in for that. Other than that, it's just all about movies, hanging out with friends, and,
Trying to catch up.
Just trying to catch up. Shout out to Tara Flanagan. That's my girl from class of 1991 over in Morristown, New Jersey, for coming visiting over here and allowing us to borrow her daughter for an evening so that, she might be coming over here to Arizona to go to school. So
Right. So her family's so fantastic. So thank you for always sharing your family with us.
Yep, because the future's looking bright.
Mm-hmm.
So
what are we talking about today?
So, of course, we are going to be talking about March for Our Lives, which was a large event that happened just over the weekend. We'll get into that a little bit and, inform you of what's been happening and what we did about it ourselves. And, of course, what's the entertainment? What movie did we see?
Pacific Rim.
Pacific Rim Uprising had come out finally. And if you're not a fan of the Pacific Rim movies, you should be, because they're a lot of fun.
It is entertaining.
I mean, if you're a little kid and you just like big robots and monsters and things like that, we'll get into it.
And if you're a grown adult, like big
right,
robots
exactly.
and monsters.
So then you just go there, you just lay back, clear your mind out, and that's it. And of course, our main topic is,
should a person's past ruin their future deeds?
So we're going to be talking about that, the main topic. I mean, thinking about that. Someone's past ruin their future. So we are going to start the podcast now with, let's start off with Pacific Rim.
Yeah, okay.
All right, let's start off with Pacific Rim. Okay, so if you guys don't know, or you hadn't seen the movie before, Pacific Rim was about basically these aliens or so that are coming out of the ocean, ancient, I think the precursors were, well, not the precursors, but they tried with the dinosaurs, that didn't work, so then they, came out with these things called the kaiju, who wind up just trying to take over the earth. And so man obviously doesn't want to die, so they created monsters of their own out of robots and metal and everything else that are so big and powerful it takes two people in order to power them, and they're powered by their brains. So those are called Jaegers. And of course, my man, Idris Elba's in it, and he sacrifices himself. If I'm giving spoilers, and too bad. But anyway,
go see it.
Yeah. Otherwise, you should have seen it, and that's what part 2 is about. So this takes place 10 years later after they win that war. And, people are living their lives, they're enjoying it.
Cities are rebuilt, and,
And then cities need to be rebuilt because these monsters do some damage.
It's like Godzilla on the 10,000th level of damage.
It's literally like Godzilla. It's literally like Godzilla, except it's just different monsters. Instead of Godzilla coming out of the ocean to fight, 1 or 2, Mothra, and destroying Tokyo yet once again, these things just destroy everything. But we're in Uprising, and of course, poor Tokyo is taking it again. Taking it to the chin. And this time they have things that are prepared for taking them underneath the ground in case a kaiju attacks. And so some of the characters wind up returning, but we also have some new characters like my man, I guess Finn.
He's always going to be known as Finn now.
John Boyega, he winds up, I don't even remember his name, to tell you the truth, because
he's John.
He's just John Boyega, whatever. He got a cool haircut, and
they had some cool clothes on him. I liked the styling.
You like the styling, and he's pretty much a rogue pilot of a Jaeger. I guess he was in the program, got up to a certain level of his dad, but I guess he was living under his dad's,
that whole mentality of I can't live to his standards.
Measure up to dad.
Dad saved the world.
Along with my sister. So his sister's now also been promoted. She's the Japanese woman in the first one, and I mean I really like the whole thing about it was I had a lot of fun. Besides the guy snoring in the back, it was like a lot of fun.
Look, he was out.
Yeah,
he laid out in the aisles. All of us in the theater kept looking around trying to find this guy, and you couldn't see him
because he was laying it down. He was like he had to be like 8 or 9 friggin' rows up until one guy just got sick of it, and he had to go up there and confront the guy and wake him up because he's like, "Yo, you're ruining the movie
for all of us,
for everybody." But besides that. The movie was a lot of fun where it started off with, of course there's this one little white girl and then John Boyega's character catches up with her because he's trying to get a part and it's on some Han Solo shit. I'm going to steal this from you. And
yeah, it was
it was on some hollow.
Yeah,
but then they get into the little robot that's the Millennium Falcon robot and then they save the day and whatever. They get caught. They have to go back into the program. And from that point on... I gotta admit, I kind of like the direction. I didn't expect the direction that it took.
Yeah, it was surprising.
It was really surprising on how they took it and how they connected the past heroes with the future almost villains. In a way, I'm not giving anything out. I mean, you have to see the movie itself. But I think you said this one's the one that knocked off...
Black Panther, and that's exactly what I was looking up then. So it made $28 million this opening weekend.
Okay, that's
pretty good, right? And Black Panther got second place with $16.7 million.
They're still making millions the 6th weekend.
Still, it's not going in it's sticking around.
I still got to see one more again.
Because this was the 6th week that Black Panther was still out, right?
That's what I'm saying. It would have been because they got 5 weeks in a row. It's also the strongest Marvel movie. But, this one is also good. It got a black lead.
Right.
And when I saw it, when we were leaving the theater, I saw John Boyega actually had a producer credit on there. So, dude is really expanding. Hopefully, he can throw in some of that money into his next Star Wars program and really get that dough going. But I'm glad that he's taking
over the block.
He's taking it. Attack the block. Attack the block. If you haven't seen Attack the Block, you got to make sure you see it. Because that's John Boyega's real
John
debut.
Boyega was only made to do sci-fi movies.
They probably...
Action sci-fi movies.
If you see Attack the Block, you can see young John Boyega doing his thing. But all right, so...
Go see it. It's entertaining.
Yeah, go see it. It's a lot of fun. I can't wait. And I'm like, why won't they... All right, this is the second friggin' movie. Please just make a damn Voltron movie. Jesus. Anyway, kids who grew up in the 80s want to see that. So, of course, we have March for Our Lives that happened.
Mm-hmm. That was really cool to be around.
Yeah, so if you don't know, 17 people, a month ago or so, on February 14th, were shot in their school in Parkland, Florida, at the Douglas High School. And what emerged were some resilient kids who are pretty much no more, like David Hogg and Emma Gonzalez, and there are a few others. They made the Time cover. Now, there's a lot of intersectionality in this that pisses a lot of people off because people were talking about gun violence forever after Ferguson.
Mm-hmm.
Black people have been screaming about violence, gun violence, to the top of their lungs because they wanted to stop, and nobody never gave them a platform. And, these kids get shot in this particular school shooting, and they stand up, and the news media wants to listen. And, of course, they all look white on the cover, whatever, even though Emma Gonzalez, and I'm really happy for them. But what I'm even happier about is the fact that David Hogg is purposefully going in front and going to other schools saying, you know what, the media has done. They have not given a voice to black people.
Exactly.
He's being very open about it, and I don't know if you saw it, but he went to some other school. He's visiting other schools, and when he was in D.C., he's like, yo, you guys need a voice. And so he's used his privilege to make sure that he gave a voice. These are 17, 18-year-olds who are doing this, and we can't even get these people to do it who are adults.
Right. Well, because they recognize their privilege. They're not tied to it. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't identify them.
Yeah.
So that's why I think it's so wonderful that they're willing to just share and bring to light everything they possibly can to just end violence in schools, period.
Hogg had shared that, and that was cool. But I don't know if you got to check out Emma Gonzalez's speech, where she was silent for, I think it was, her whole thing wound up being 6 minutes, 20 seconds. And I think she was silent for about 4 minutes of that. And so what she was doing was proving a point. This is how long it took for this guy to go through the school and shoot everybody down, the 17 students and teachers. And it was really poignant on how she did that. And I really like the fact that, she is the face of, and I can understand why. It's like she's got a look.
Mm-hmm.
She's got a tongue on her. Somebody said David Hogg would have been the guy I pined for when I was in high school. It's like it's so funny. Like, I mean, these people were like looking at them, but these kids are doing a lot more now, I think, than we would have as students.
Right. And I got to give some acknowledgement to Samantha Fuentes. She was the survivor. She was shot at Parkland, and she survived. And when she was doing her speech in D.C., the crowd, was really overwhelming. There's a lot of people there, right? Poor thing. Right when she started her speech, she threw up on stage.
Yeah, she puked right on stage. People, here's what cracked me up was while she was throwing up, because when you throw up, you go, and then you turn around and she's like puking on the stage or wherever she is, and the crowd is cheering.
Right, they're still cheering for her.
They didn't care what, yeah, we're cheering anyway, and then I just threw up on international TV, and I feel great,
And she continued on.
This girl was shot twice, I believe, or something like that. I know she's shot in her leg, definitely. She's probably on pain meds and who knows what. Plus, she's nervous. It's cold, and the girl's up there, feeling good. I mean, this girl took a couple bullets. She could have been number 18.
She could have.
Easily.
She could have.
Where this moron, it sucks that a tragedy has to happen in order for people to finally act. And, with Generation X, which I am, it's I think that we activate. I think Generation X is good at activation. I remember when we had a nigger night over at my college that one of the white fraternities had done. And when we found out about that, we sprung into action. We made T-shirts. We did all kinds of things to put pressure on our college that news media was calling us. We were doing interviews and everything. So I can't speak for everybody else, but I just know that our generations are cleaning it up, and I'm really happy for this one. Millennials, you need to start acting right.
Gen Z, we got your...
Listen carefully.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Zod.
And I'm Drea.
And we want you to check out the Zod and Drea podcast every Tuesday.
Where can everybody find us at?
You can always check us out on www.zodanddrea.com.
Where else?
You can always check us out also on Facebook at Zod and Drea.
Instagram?
Zod and Drea.
Snapchat?
Zod and Drea.
YouTube?
Zod and Drea.
I see a pattern.
So if you haven't caught that, catch us at Zod and Drea on all the social networks. But also, make sure you subscribe to the Zod and Drea podcast. Where?
At zodanddrea.com.
And also on YouTube and iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, and iHeartRadio. We're coming for you.
Let us know what you think. And if you want to be a guest, reach out to us.
And put all of your input into whatever our topics are for the week. So we hope to check you out and see you there.
Bye!
All right, welcome back, people.
Wow, that was a lot of energy.
Yes, I had some water, so I'm good.
You're hydrated
I'm
and
back.
ready to go.
I am good. You can't stop me.
Nope.
So our topic right now is: should a person's past ruin their future deeds? And that's coming real, because this goes on a level of not just celebrities or people you know. This can also get on some personal stuff.
Mm-hmm.
These are people you even know. Like here, for instance, Killer Mike recently had gone on a on NRA TV to discuss gun violence and guns, really guns, not even violence. And he was just feeding into them and like, oh, we're gun owners, which is cool. Nothing wrong with people being, or black people owning guns. I think that it should be promoted because I don't think it's promoted enough. But the timing that he had gone on that show really interrupted the march for our lives. And so, knowing the NRA, number one, they have a black person on here who's prominent, who's very forward-thinking, who is a progressive, and they're using it on their platform. They got something up their sleeve. It's like, come on, Mike, don't go on NRA TV. And of course, they get another brother man to interview him.
Mm-hmm.
Like how many black people are in the NRA? Like, please. So they get the one only black guy. And they start talking about things that almost sound contradictory to what the progressive movement sounds like in a way, the way it was portrayed. So instantly, everybody jumped down Mike's throat. Hey, including me. I'm like, what is he doing? I didn't completely write him off. Well, actually, I did. Tell you the truth, yeah, I did. But it was out of anger. It was out of not even anger. It was out of frustration, and it was out of concern for what he was doing. So people had brought it to my attention where they're like, but his past deeds and everything else. I'm like, yeah, it's true. Or what he has done in the past. This is opposite of what we're talking about. But his past deeds shouldn't determine what he has done now.
I get your point. Right.
And so I'm like, okay, so am I judging this guy for what he's done for his future or his current situation, or should I judge him from his past? So it's almost opposite of what the topic is, but moving forward, he wound up apologizing for that interview to the Parkland kids because he's like, the timing was wrong, and he's like, oh, I try to tell people to converse with people you don't agree with, and then I'm like, but Mike, it's NRA. So he was just banned for a few cookouts, and he'll get back into it. Somebody was banning him from tartar sauce and barbecue for like a year, and to go
tartar sauce and barbecue
and to go plates. I'm like, man, that's harsh. Like, I'm just saying, like, I'm just like a 3 cookout ban.
Not the foil on the plate,
like
no,
all that.
for
No,
him.
you just gotta leave. I'm like, man, Nikki, that's my cousin. I'm like, man, you're rough. But
no foil for him.
It's like, so what about when this becomes his past? It's like, should that ruin his future? And should it? Should that ruin or affect anything that you do in the future? And my whole thing was, if I don't treat somebody such as a family member with the same, people are like, oh, we shouldn't judge that way. But I know people who have, including in my own family, who have like completely stopped talking to their own family members.
Oh, that's in my
you're right, for the smallest, dumbest thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm supposed to forgive Killer Mike that quickly because of what he's done, when I know that my cousins or whoever I'm mad at, whoever it is, has done excellent things in my past, but that one thing is going to, tear us apart.
Mm-hmm.
You don't live in glass houses unless you're doing. So it's like, should their past ruin that? Hey, just
a grudge is a badge of honor from where I came from. So in again, it's just your environment that you're in, but I know for me it is hard sometimes. And this was a trait that when I was growing up around my family, I thought, oh man, why are they being so mean to Maria? Whatever she did like 20 years ago, that's not cool. I didn't know her. Why should I gotta hate her? But now I catch myself doing the same thing. Like, oh yeah, I remember that chick from 15 years ago. I know what she did. I don't like her.
Right.
And it's like, whoa, it's like that type of programming happens that you just automatically do that. And it's crazy when you realize, like, no, I would want someone not to judge me from what actions I did in like high school, because I had my head up my butt in high school. I didn't know what I was doing.
Exactly.
But I wouldn't want those actions to then impact me as an adult in my career or my choices in life, because I didn't know anything then. So, I gotta also look at it the same way when I'm right at that edge of judging people. I do though, I have to talk about though with this topic, definitely we go into, I think, in the mindset of the formerly incarcerated or the currently incarcerated, right? So yes, your past deeds, you're when you're incarcerated, the whole idea is that you are paying for whatever deed that you did that caused you to break the law, right? And then when you get out, you're supposed to have a clean slate, you can start new, but of course we know in society that just does not happen, right? That's why then your rights are taken away and you've got parole and you'll have this, this label as a felon for the rest of your life. Do I think, though, for the non-violent offenders, like your people that were caught with a little bit of weed, caught with a little bit of drugs here and there, maybe stole some Takis from like the local store,
Yeah, right.
should that be something that should be a scar on them for the rest of their lives and prevent them from getting housing and loans and have a life? No. Sex offenders, like the...
Yeah, you shouldn't be somebody's babysitter.
Yeah, because that is more of a behavior pattern that has caused pain and suffering to a human being. That's different. Murderer, child molester, rapist, you gotta die.
Even a murderer, like some of these people get set up for murder. Like there was a man who just got out of prison. He was in prison. I think they put him away for 31 years and he just got out. Mm-hmm. Found out he didn't do anything.
Right, he wasn't guilty.
He wasn't guilty and they gave him $1 million. Oh, a whole $1 million because you just lost 31. Think of where you were if you were even alive 31 years ago, and this is where this guy's life is. But who knows what? It's like, yo, dude, where have you been? You're applying for a job. Well, I was in jail. I mean, I guess he doesn't have to say it because he was exonerated, but his past might ruin whatever he wants to do in the future because, number one, he doesn't have the skill set for it. He's probably spent more time in prison than he has outside. And the recidivism rate,
recidivism.
Recidivism. Thank you. And the recidivism rate goes up when you don't have the skills to come back out. And they were saying that people who earn certain degrees or certain skill sets in prison, it reduces that. Mm-hmm. So at least some people, and there's some organizations that will hire, felons. And I mean, we know felons.
Right.
Like we were just chilling with somebody who was formerly incarcerated, last night. And she is now living a good life. She has returned back to, but what she was, what's wild is what she was accused of doing. Like, it was actually under the influence of somebody else, but she got a whole bunch of time because, she was looking out for her own child. So in a certain situation that happened, it wasn't murder or anything. In a certain situation that happened, she now has this on her record. And someone could look at that. It's like, where were you for the last 4 years or for 4 years and during this time? And be like, you know what? We don't want to hire you for this position. And it's like, but she's an absolutely awesome mother, awesome person,
awesome human being.
Everything. I would hire her in a second.
Right.
Because I know who she is. But, to other people, the past will ruin their future deeds.
Right.
So, where this also comes from is, Donald Trump. Now, personally to me, he hasn't done any good deeds, currently, and I doubt he will in the future. I think he's taken away a lot of rights of people, transgender, Latinas. He's not giving people chances in order to do things, and he just wants to toss them over the wall and prison them, whatever. He's not giving chances or putting things in. But with that said, anything that he could possibly do, is his life in the past going to ruin what he becomes in the future? Now, being at 70-something years old, being in the 70s, making sure that black people didn't get, apartments or whatever in his rentals or wherever by his area.
Oh, meaning what he did in the 70s.
What he did in the 70s. And then, in the 80s, the Central Park Five, like, oh, of course, these black kids, they had to have done it, and he hasn't apologized since. And anything else moving up forward to, running for president, it's like, oh, these Latinos, of course, you don't see anything about building a northern wall. It's always a southern wall. Mm-hmm. And
Latinos are rapists. And
the rapists, and maybe some are good people. Mm-hmm. I don't know, because I don't know them like that. They only clean my trash.
They only help me run my businesses, but I don't know them.
Pretty much. And, I only hire a whole bunch of, I think Mar-a-Lago has, what was it, 90% of, people that are foreign born or something like that. So whatever he's done, is there anything that he can do in the future in order to show that he's I don't think so. I think that he's a scumbag, and he's going to be a scumbag for his life. I think once you're a scumbag like that, and you've gotten away with being a scumbag and a dirtbag, calling country shitholes and all this other stuff, I think that you're just
There's no attempt to change behavior. Yeah. That's the thing. There's no attempt. If you hear from somebody that's like, yes, I did this, but I want to be like this now, and I'm sorry for what happened in the past, and this are the steps I'm taking then to be a better person or to amend of what happened in the past, right? When you hear that type of stance and commitment to change, then that person, it's different. But I don't hear that from him, and you don't hear that from his leaders that he's brought in.
And I don't think he, like, speaking on him specifically, I think he's just one of those cases where he's going to be a scumbag, like, his whole life. Like, no matter what, he has one focus. It's like in order to be loved. In order to be loved by as many people as he can. And that's it. That's his whole thing. It doesn't matter how he gets there. It doesn't matter whose life he ruins in the process.
I don't even think it's love. I think it's to be feared and to be adored.
Or just respect. I mean, who knows what it is. It's a megalomaniac attitude no matter what. And that's what I mean by love. Not love. He's like, oh, I wish my daughter loved me. It's not that. No. Yeah. Like, he just wants to be adored, I guess, by everybody. And, oh, he's so powerful and all this. He's so manly. I don't know what happened in his life that he needs that in his life. But, you know, I think he's going to be a dirtbag. But somebody like Bill Cosby. You know, Bill Cosby, the same thing. Where he was America's dad. Jello pudding pops. You know, he was always donating to black colleges and black causes and putting his money, you know, where his mouth was. I think he was supposed to be buying CBS or something like that at the time, or something like that. Like, he was going to be doing some really good things until, boom, one woman was like, you know what, this guy's kind of a dirtbag. Why? Well, in the 70s, you know, his past went and caught up with him. It's like, this guy would start throwing roofies in. Then all of a sudden, like 30 women later, it's like, holy shit, this is what this guy was doing. Then the whole Me Too movement came out because of Harvey Weinstein. It's like, oh, Harvey's doing such great work. Look at him. He's awesome. He's putting movies in. And then it's like, wait a minute, this guy's a dirtbag. What do you mean? Oh, well, he was sitting there drugging people and raping, and he's all rapey and all this, listening to this videotape, and oh my God, he's scummy. It's like, whoa, his past, like, everything he had done from that point on, no matter what, to try to redeem himself, it's like, you're a scumbag.
Right, and he had people covering it up. He had a whole system supporting his behavior, his bad habits, his way of being. There was a whole system and industry in place that was there to cover it up for him.
You know, and it goes like that to so many other people where you don't find out until later. Wow, they or someone you're like, oh my God, I admire this person. You're like, yo, they were high as hell. What do you mean? They were on drugs. Like, their past, they were on drugs the whole time. That's why they were able to create such good music. Right. It's like, wait, what?
Or look at too the gymnastics, the USA Gymnastics, Nasser.
Nasser.
He had for 20 years.
Yeah, he was a hero.
Universities, the Gymnastics Association, U.S. Gymnastics, right? All covering up his deeds, his awful deeds of molestation and sexual assault to girls, to young girls. And now even some men are coming out too.
You know, and we didn't know that about his past.
No, he was the darling physician that picked up, what's her name? Carrie
Strug.
When her knee was bummed out.
Or whatever, her ankle, or whatever
happened to her.
But she was busted up. And, like, this, at the same time, he probably wanted to pick her up. Like, I'm going to put my hand in that little tiny booty, freaking bastard.
So it's like, his past was showing, because we didn't know what was really going on with him, that he was this awesome doctor. And everybody, if you want to be a gymnast, you need to go to this doctor. You need to see him. You need to train with him. And now, all of a sudden, all of this has been exposed. Will it change now, what he does? Hell yeah, it is. He's going to be in jail for over 100 years now.
He'll outlive it. And I know he will. And when he gets out, like, they got to watch him.
He'll outlive 100 years.
Evil doesn't die. Evil never dies. So it's like, I mean, what do you think? It's like when somebody's past comes up. Like, have you ever dated somebody? It's like, oh, you know, this person's cool, and then maybe you hear from, like, an ex. Yeah, the last time, you know, I dated that guy, you know, he beat me.
He wore my panties.
Yeah, so, yeah, you know, he beat me. He wore my panties, like, while he beat me. It's like, oh, wait a minute, you know, red flag. You know, does that apply to everybody? No matter what they do, no matter what kind of good they do, or how good of a person they are, will that past ruin them?
Oh, and one correction, too. I said that if you murdered anybody, you must die. I didn't mean it way. I was like, I didn't mean it that way, so I apologize.
Rapist, yes. But not necessarily even if you're convicted, because a lot of wrong convictions. So, if you really did it, then you gotta die. That's it. You know, not from what the court system says.
Right.
All right, there we go.
There we go. Correction.
All right, people. We've done it again. Another podcast in the books.
102. So please watch the video that we had this week.
You know, and I should have mentioned that. Yes, the March for Our Lives video.
That was
so
really
if you
good
haven't seen that, there were some good interviews. Drea interviewed some students from the March for Our Lives over the Capitol in Arizona, and you can check that out at ZodandDrea.com or go to our Facebook page It's also been shared a few times, so it's also on the YouTube. So
And photos on Instagram.
Yep, all the photos that you can see on Instagram. So make sure you do that. Hashtag March for Our Lives. Hashtag Never Again. Also, if you want, please subscribe to our podcast. That's the first thing you should do, not only on YouTube, but also on iTunes, Google Play, and anywhere else that you can get great recordings such as this.
Go see Pacific Rim. Tell us your thoughts about it. Do you think it was all that, or just simply entertainment like we thought it was?
Yeah, so no matter what, make sure you have a good day, all right?
Bye.